Hello there everybody, welcome back to my Flosstube channel. Super excited to see you this week as usual. I have some pretty fun whip updates for you guys today. And yeah, as usual, I will leave little timestamp thingies in the video bar so that you can click to whichever part of the video you would like to watch. As usual, I will be doing a little bit of a catch-up, my whip update, my haul section, which is very, very small this week, and then plans at the end. So feel free to skip around if you only want to watch part of that, or absolutely feel free to watch the whole thing as well. I would really appreciate it. So hello, today I am coming to you on Monday, May 2nd of 2022. It is very late at night as usual. I typically like to film at night. I'm just kind of a nocturnal person. If I just let my body do whatever it wants for the sleep schedule, we're gonna be up pretty late. So that's just how it is. But anyway, this evening I have a beverage. I brewed some black tea earlier and I mixed it with lemonade to make my own like Arnold Palmer type thing. The pint glass is from a place in the Wisconsin Dells that my fiance and I went when we went on our little mini vacation last fall. I really like the little Viking guy on here, so we like pretty much exclusively use these pint glasses. But yes, I'm so thankful that I was able to survive this past week. If you guys didn't watch my last video, I talked a little bit about how I had a large scale event coming up for work. I'll get into that in just a second, but yeah, I was just super, super anxious. I do have an anxiety disorder along with a lot of other things. So just the stress of that along with a lot of other stuff, just everything piled on top of each other. And I was very stressed out. So I didn't have a ton of time to stitch last week. I did make sure that I set aside time for myself to like decompress, which again, for me is stitching. So I did get a fair bit done, but not as much as I would have liked, but that's totally fine. Yeah, one of my like little self-care treats, it wasn't really a treat, but something that I finally got around to this week was cutting my hair. I actually do my own hair. I've been doing my own hair for like over 10 years, I think. I started when I was a teenager. So, yeah, unfortunately, because of like my mental illnesses, it's really difficult to like do my hair all at once. I have my partner shave my like undercut sides, whatever. And that's usually like one day, and then a different day I will go and cut the top part, which I did today. And then a different day I will bleach my roots, and then a different day I will actually dye my hair. So it's a very long process. So we're kind of in the middle of things right now. So I will probably be, somewhere else in the stage of things next week. But yes, it feels so great to not have hair touching my ears. I don't know if any of you guys have short hair, but I absolutely hate when my hair gets too long. It just drives me crazy. So yeah, we did that. We cut my sides like on like Friday, which was right before my work event, and then today's Monday and I finally cut the top. So yeah, that was awesome. As for that work event, I don't want to go too into it since it's not really like extremely relevant to this channel, but like it's relevant to me, so I want to share a little bit. I think I've mentioned my job before, but I work at a small local pagan and witchcraft bookstore. And twice a year we hold a large scale market type event. We have a lot of different artists and vendors who come in. They usually set up tents outside, and we have like tarot readers and other people like that in our basement classroom space. So typically we attract between 1,500 to 2,000 people. This is a 1-day 6-hour event, and for us that is a lot of people. It's like income wise, it's like roughly 8 to 10 times what we usually make in a typical day. So that kind of gives you an idea of what our traffic is usually like day to day versus these like big event days. So it's really fun, but it's also very stressful and it makes for a very long day. And aside from just being a normal shop hand, I'm also the events coordinator, event planner, whatever you want to call my job. I'm the event planner for the business. The shop owner was looking to take some stuff off of their plate, so they kind of passed that role on to me. So of course, being the main contact for everybody, yeah, I felt a lot of pressure, and we ended up having really awful weather, just terrible weather that day. There were like 25-mile-an-hour winds, which is a lot when you're setting up like 10-foot tents outside. It was also raining for most of the day, pretty substantially. And just like with the wind combined, a lot of people ended up having to drop out last minute because like their merchandise literally could not survive in the rain. So that was super stressful. We were able to move some people inside, but yeah, it was just like really, really stressful. It ended up working out. You know, we still had a really good turnout. All the vendors that did stick around were really happy. And they seemed to have a really good day. I got these earrings actually from one of our vendors. They're little handmade mushrooms. So like obviously I had to buy them. But yeah, I had to be up at 5:45 a.m., which, like I was just saying, I'm typically quite nocturnal, so that was very early for me. And then we did not leave the shop until about 5:15, 5:30 at night, so it was a very, very long day for me. But yes, we have several days now where the shop is closed because all of us just need a second to kind of decompress from that. So really, really thankful that I was able to get through that without any major incidents. Yeah, I had a really good time, but I'm really happy that it's over. Unfortunately, though, it is May, and for me, this is actually when my seasonal depression kicks in. I've got normal, like, clinical depression as well that I struggle with all year. But specifically from about May to like mid-September, I have seasonal depression as well. There's a specific reason for it. We don't need to go into that. But this is a really hard time of year for me. So, yeah, I feel like I'm either going to completely drop most of my hobbies or I'm going to lean into them very hard. And with the way things are going right now, I have a feeling I'm going to be leaning into them very hard, which is great for you guys because it means I will probably have a lot more progress to show you each week. But please excuse me if there's ever any week during the summertime when I seem like I'm low energy or if I miss a few uploads here and there. That is the reason why. This channel is like very much a side thing for me. I do care a lot about putting videos out here because I'm trying to build like a very nice community of people. And I really like interacting with all of you guys. But yeah, sometimes other things are just going to come first. So, just be aware of that as we go into the summer season. I think that's all I have for personal life updates. So let's get into the actual cross-stitch stuff. So this week I picked up 3 different projects. One of them we have not seen in a while, so I'm really excited to show you guys that one. The first one though that I picked up, I'm just getting it out of the project bag here, is my That Which Does Not Kill Us stitch along. I did show this last week as well, and I was really close to finishing like the words and stuff. So I did just go ahead and finish that this past week. So I'm really happy with that. This is the henbane plant. The next one is going to be foxglove, which I'm really excited for. Foxglove is one of my favorite plants. I just think it's super cool. So I will eventually get to that. Once I complete the fill for the foxglove, I will be able to tick off another box on my WhipGo board. So I'm really excited about that too. We'll talk about WhipGo too once we get to one of my other projects, because with it being a new month, we had new numbers called recently. So we'll talk about that too. But that's where I'm at with this. I've really been enjoying this. I meant to mention this, like, I think it was 2 weeks ago. But I think when I started this, I was doing some of the lines as fractional stitches. Like, how do I even point this out? So, oh my goodness. Okay. So like up here, there's kind of this long stitch that connects the flat part of the bottle to the neck of it. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell on camera, but on this bottle, I did those as long stitches. So I went over all 3 boxes, without like, usually when I backstitch, I do like 1 stitch at a time, but this was pretty much doing 3 all in one go. And on my first go around with this, where can I find an example here? I guess like on this part, you can see right here, these are all separate stitches, but on this side, I did it as a long stitch, and, it's just made it a lot easier. I was having trouble with like, this is, Ada. So it's a little bit difficult for me to do fractional stitches on this. I don't know if anybody else struggles with that, but I was really not having a good time. And it just was such a pain to try to like make sure that all of the fractionals were landing in the same spot, because just with how this pattern is, it's just a little bit too precise for like the fabric that I'm stitching on, if that makes any sense, for me to be doing fractionals on it. So, but doing the long stitch method has really, it's sped it up a lot, and it's made my lines a lot more consistent. So, I think that going forward and using those long stitches is going to be really helpful, with like keeping me engaged in my stitching and everything, because I think I got a little bit frustrated with it before. So that's that one. Hopefully this week I'll at least pick it up a little bit. I've been kind of focused on another one of my pieces though, which we will talk about again in just a second. Before that though, I did pick up my Hade project again, which is Magic Study Rainbow Version Max Colors by Rose Kahn. I also this week threw together, oh my god, there's so much cat hair. I threw together a project bag for this project. I've had this taro fabric laying around for quite a while. I intended to make a pillowcase out of it, but I just never got around to that. So I thought that I would use it for a project bag. And then this is the inner fabric. This one is a little bit larger. Oh my goodness, larger than the other ones that I've made. This one is actually 14 by 14 inches. The other ones I think are like 14 by 11 or something. But I wanted to make this one, oh my goodness, bumping my mic. I wanted to make this one bigger so that the Q-snap could comfortably fit inside of this. This project I'm just planning to keep on this Q-snap all the time. It's just gonna live on this Q-snap, and that's that. So yes, anyway, this is where I'm at with it this week. I will see again if I can go ahead and find a picture from last time, and I will show you guys where I was at then. Let me get Pattern Keeper opened up. This that I just showed you is 1,420 stitches out of 444,850, which puts me at 0.32%. So I didn't get quite as much done this week on this project, but like I said earlier, I'm okay with not getting as much done as I wanted, just because of how stressful last week was and how busy it was. So that's totally fine with me. If you can see though, we've got like a butterfly shape coming in here. So I'm really excited. I think next time I pick this up, I only have a little bit of this blue color left to do in this area. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and work on the butterfly just to like feel like I'm actually making progress and not just stitching DMC 820 forever. So yeah, that's where we're at with Magic Study. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is stitched 2/1/10 stitch on 28 count, easy count Lugana. So, yes. And my last project that I have been working on, we have not seen this lady in a little while, but I actually pulled out Odile this past week. I'll go ahead and put in a picture of the finished pattern since you guys haven't seen her in I think probably over a month. But I move some of this thread out of the way. I will put in a picture right now of what she looked like the last time you guys saw her. This is being stitched on 36 count opalescent Rose Murda, I think is the color, linen from Under the Sea Fabrics. And then this is where she is at now. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about where we're getting with this. This does not look like it, but this is actually 3 different colors. So I've finished 2 of the colors, and now I'm going in with the 3rd color, which is pretty much going to fill in most of this empty space in the middle. There's going to be a few holes for beads. If you guys can see these like little bead tracks that are going through, she's got like some drapey strings of beads on her outfit. So once I get up to that area, there's still going to be some holes left for beads, but otherwise it's all going to be filled in with this blend that I am stitching with right now. Yeah. She was actually called for Whip Go this month, which is why I have decided to pick her back up. So let me grab my Whip Go board and we can talk about that as well. Let's see. So this month, there were actually 3 numbers called this month. That is because one of the called numbers was 13, which for most people is a free space. I've talked about this before, but I actually randomized the numbers on my Whip Go board. So I didn't want it to just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I wanted it to be a little bit more random than that. So my number 13 is actually over here. It's not a free space. So, but that's totally fine. Whatever month the free space gets called, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so 13 was called, which for me is a 2 drops for my stitch along that I showed you guys earlier. 14 was also called, which for me is also another 2 drops on that stitch along, which is again why I'm really trying to like get some good work done on that. And then the other number, if I can find it, was number 8, which is 5 days stitching on Odile, which I just showed you. I already have 2 days on her already, so we are getting fairly close, I guess, to checking that one off. So yes, this is my old Whip Go board, so pay no mind to that. This page is the one that you want to look at if you want to check out my progress. The ones that are highlighted in that purple color are ones I have completed. And then I have written on here what month things were called. The 2 at the top for Bohemia, those numbers have not been called yet, but I did already complete those squares, so that's why those are highlighted, even though 20 and 22 have not been called yet. So I'm still a little bit behind on Whip Go. I'm doing a lot better than I was whenever the last time was that I showed my board. I still have all of the drops or the called numbers for May, so that would be the the 4 sal drops and then 5 days on Odile. And then I still have a couple, I think I only have 3 other squares it looks like that I haven't done. One of the calls from April was number 7, which for me was 6 outlines on my Pokemon cross stitch, which I have not picked up lately. And then from March and February, 15 and 17 were called, and both of those for me are 5 days each on my Fox Autumn stitch, which I haven't picked up in months, or at least a month. I think it was March when I last touched that one. But honestly, not too shabby. I'm hoping to complete that Odile square within the next couple days here, and then I want to give some good attention to my stitch along, and then I'm going to try to go back and complete those ones from past months that I haven't quite gotten around to yet. So I think that's everything I have for my whip update, as far as I can tell. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. But yes, let's go into haul really quickly, which is very, very short. So on Friday of last week, I've been talking about doing this for a while, but I did go ahead and finally place an order with Pip and Chip, and I got a set of floss chips. I'm ridiculously excited. They take about 3 weeks to be made currently, and they're also made in the UK, so it'll be probably a little bit over a month before they actually arrive to me, but that's totally fine. But yes, I am super, super excited about that. I did have somebody comment on my last video and suggest a different like cheaper alternative to me, and I did look at their floss drops that they had, and I think that they're really cool, but it just wasn't quite what I was looking for. With those, they were pretty much like they're closer to like normal floss drops, where they're not labeled or like printed with labels, you know. So I would have to either use stickers or write on them with a Sharpie, which is what I already do with my bobbins. And I'm just looking for something that's going to pretty much last me forever. So I didn't go with those ones, but I think that they were a really good option. I can't remember what the company was called, so I'll have to go back, but I'll link them in my description if you guys are interested in some floss drops. Again, they were really cool. It just wasn't quite what I was looking for. But yes, again, I'm ridiculously excited. I have like, back here, my paper bag. It is absolutely filled with all the floss for my magic study pattern. I showed that to you guys last week, but I haven't done anything with it yet. I've only pulled out the single skein for the color that I have been like doing a lot of. So I'm really excited for the floss drops to come in so I can like actually get that pattern fully kitted up with all of the colors that I need, and just have stuff like more usable and more organized, because literally right now it's just in a huge massive pile in that bag. Okay, and then moving on to my plans section, I kind of already talked about this, but I would really like to focus on my WhipGo board this month. I think it was in like March, I really didn't make much progress on my WhipGo board. I did start it in January, like at the very end of January, so I was working on it pretty well for a little while there, and then I just kind of fell off of it. But I would really like to get more caught up on that just so that I can start knocking out projects. I do obviously have some really big projects going on, like Magic Study and Bohemia, and you could also definitely argue that Odile is pretty big too. She's a lot fewer stitches than my full coverage pieces, but she has a metric fuck ton of back stitching and like a few hundred, if not a few thousand beads. Which I really love doing back stitching and I really love doing beads, so that's not an issue. It's just really time consuming. But yes, so I would really like to knock out specifically my stitch along and my fox stitch. I'd also like to get a lot closer to completing my Pokemon cross stitch. That one has been in progress for almost a year. That one is my oldest project. So yeah, I'd just really like to focus on my WhipGo board, which Magic Study is not on my WhipGo board. So unfortunately, that probably won't get nearly as much work as I might want to put in. I'm really enjoying that project right now, but yeah, I just have other stuff I think I need to focus on. Speaking of my Odile cross stitch, which I still have out, the designer who makes this is named Make It Pink, and the original artist is Hannah Alexander, who I've talked about several times on this channel. I really, really love Hannah Alexander's artwork, and Make It Pink is making patterns for her Sailor Moon designs. I really love Sailor Moon. I have all 14 patterns on pre-order, and all of those patterns are just as huge and ridiculous and covered in backstitching and beads as my Odile cross stitch is. I do follow Make It Pink on Facebook. She has like a little chill Facebook page where people will post updates for like their own whips and stuff, and she will post updates on like new pattern releases and her own work in progress stuff for like, hey, I'm almost done making this pattern. So I've seen her working on these Sailor Moon designs, and she has 2 out of the first 3 done. She's releasing them in like groups of 3 or 4, I think. So we will be getting the first of those patterns pretty soon, probably before the end of May. And although I don't anticipate starting any of those this year, I still would really like to make sure that I'm keeping up with these pieces, because there are so many that I want to do and they are very labor intensive. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm putting in enough time on these stitches, because I started Odile a couple months ago. I think it was in March, and she's not super far along. I think I have like 1,500 stitches in this or something, which isn't bad. But it's just, I feel like if I focused on her, I could have a lot more than that. This also takes a lot of concentration, just because like the count of the fabric is really small. I'm not used to stitching on linen or stitching over 2, and also the pattern is just very complicated. There's a billion fractional stitches and blends and just a lot of stuff going on. So it just takes a lot of brain power to work on. I can usually only work on this for like 2 or 3 hours at a time before I have to switch to something else, usually like closer to 2. So I did talk about this last week too, but I did purchase a small pattern from Stitchy Princess on Etsy. It's this little like bee one. I think she called it a sampler. But yeah, it's super adorable. I did purchase that pattern, like I said, and I think I probably have floss for it. I definitely have fabric for it. So that might be something that I start soon. I had talked briefly to Jess of Cross Stitching Smiles about possibly doing that as like a sal between the two of us. So we'll see. I know she's currently on vacation because she's getting married in like 2 days. And she was like, oh yeah, I can totally start it on vacation. But I'm like, I don't want to like, she's busy. So like, I don't want to bug her about it, but I think it would be really fun. So I did buy that pattern. Speaking of Jess, I am pretty active in her Facebook page or her Facebook group. And this month she announced that she is going to be doing some like challenges within the group. And this is the first time that she's doing that, so I'm really, really excited about it. She's doing a couple different, like, versions. She has, like, 5 different challenge levels, if you want to think about it that way. I think that's kind of the best way to put it. It just kind of depends on what you're looking to do. So, for me, the ones I chose that I want to try is, the, like, stitching endurance challenge, which is making sure that you're stitching every single day, regardless of what piece it's on. I just need to stitch something every day. Even if I just put in one stitch on one of my projects, that counts. And I also think I would like to aim for the higher stitch count challenge, which I think is 5,000 stitches within the month on any of my pieces. It doesn't have to be 5,000 pieces. Oh my God, can I speak? It does not have to be 5,000 stitches on one piece. So if I do 2,000 on Magic Study, 2,000 on Odile, and 1,000 on Bohemia, that counts as my 5,000 for the month. But I think that's definitely reasonable for me. In Magic Study, I just knocked over something. In Magic Study, I have almost 1,500 stitches, and I did that in basically 2 sittings. So I think that it's definitely reasonable for me to do 5,000 in a month. Some of the other options, or one of the other options, was to do monogamous stitching and only stitch on one piece, or stitch on one piece every day for the month, and I just don't think I can do that. I think that is a recipe for me to get burnt out on whatever piece I would choose for that. So personally, I'm not doing that, but I think that it is a super, super good idea for people that do have that attention span. But yeah, so far so good. It's only May 2nd, but I have stitched both days. So hooray, go me. Very exciting. But yes, I'm very, very excited about these challenges. Okay, I think that's finally everything that I wanted to talk about. I thought that this video would be a lot shorter than what I'm seeing on my camera, but I literally say that every single time. I thought this video was going to be like 20 minutes, and it is certainly not. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. My video last week got quite a few views, and I've gotten several new subscribers from it, so thank you guys so much. I guess y'all just really like seeing a big pile of floss in the thumbnail, which, like, yeah, mood. So I hope everybody who's new sticks around. I hope you guys enjoy my slightly feral energy. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next week. Bye!